Look around. Everyone is moving together, thinking the same, living the same life. And that's exactly the problem. And you're being pressured to join them, to go with the flow, to follow the crowd, to be like everyone else, to blend in, to conform, to not stand out, to not be different, to not make waves. Just follow. Just comply. Just do what everyone else is doing. But let me tell you something. Real men don't follow the crowd. They never have. They never will. Because the crowd is almost always wrong. The majority is almost always headed in the wrong direction. The popular path is almost always the destructive one. And real men have the courage to stand alone when everyone else is following the herd. History proves this. Every great man, every man of significance, every man who made a real difference, stood against the crowd. Noah built an ark when everyone thought he was crazy. Abraham left everything when everyone said he was foolish. Moses confronted Pharaoh when everyone else bowed. David faced Goliath when everyone else ran. Daniel kept praying when everyone else compromised. Jesus spoke truth when everyone else wanted comfort. Every single one of them stood alone, against the crowd, against popular opinion, against what everyone else was doing. And that's what made them great. Not their agreement with the masses, their courage to disagree with them. So let me show you why real men don't follow the crowd, and why you need to stop following it too. First, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd is cowardly. The crowd doesn't require courage. It requires compliance. When you're following everyone else, you're not being brave. You're being safe. You're not taking a risk. You're avoiding one. You're not standing for anything. You're blending into everything. The crowd is for cowards who are too afraid to stand alone, too scared to be different, too weak to think for themselves, too insecure to go against popular opinion. So they hide in the masses. They disappear into the group. They let the crowd's size protect them from having to take a personal stand. Joshua 1 verse 9 commands, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Be strong and courageous, not safe and compliant. Real men have the courage to stand alone, to think differently, to choose differently, to live differently, even when it means standing against the crowd, especially when it means standing against the crowd. Following the crowd takes no courage. A sheep can do that. A follower can do that. A coward can do that. But real men aren't sheep, aren't followers, aren't cowards. Real men lead, even if they're the only ones going in that direction. Second, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd is headed to destruction. Matthew 7 verses 13 to 14 warns, "Enter by the narrow gate. For the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. The way that leads to destruction is wide, and many follow it." That's the crowd. The masses. The majority. They're on the wide road, the easy path, the popular route, and it leads to destruction. Every single time. The way that leads to life is narrow, and few find it. That's not the crowd. That's the minority. The few. The ones willing to take the hard path, the narrow road, the unpopular route, because they care more about where they're going than who's going with them. The crowd is always headed the wrong direction, boys, because the right path is narrow, difficult, unpopular, and most people won't take it. They'll take the easy path, the wide road, the route everyone else is on, even though it leads to destruction. Real men care about the destination more than the company. They'd rather walk alone on the right path than with the crowd on the wrong one. Third, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd has no standards. The crowd adapts to culture, bends to pressure, compromises to fit in. The crowd doesn't have convictions. It has consensus. It doesn't have principles. It has popularity. It doesn't have truth. It has trends. Whatever culture says is acceptable, the crowd accepts. Whatever society normalizes, the crowd normalizes. Whatever is popular, the crowd adopts. Not because it's right, because everyone's doing it. But real men have standards that don't change based on what's popular. Have convictions that don't bend based on what's trending. Have principles that don't compromise based on what's accepted. Daniel 1 verse 8 says, "But Daniel resolved that he would not defile himself with the king's food or with the wine that he drank." Daniel resolved. He made a decision, set a standard, established a conviction, and he wouldn't compromise it. Not even when the crowd was eating the king's food. Not even when everyone else was going along with it. Not even when refusing put him at risk. Real men have lines they won't cross. Standards they won't lower. Convictions they won't compromise. Regardless of what the crowd is doing. Regardless of what's popular. Regardless of what everyone else accepts. Fourth, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd worships comfort. The crowd will always choose the easy path. The comfortable option. The route with least resistance. Not the right path. The easy one. Not the path that leads somewhere worth going. The path that requires the least effort. The crowd values comfort over character. Ease over growth. Pleasure over purpose. They'll sacrifice long-term good for short-term comfort every single time. And they'll expect you to do the same. But real men value character over comfort. Growth over ease. Purpose over pleasure. They're willing to be uncomfortable. To take the hard path. To endure difficulty. Because they know that nothing worthwhile is achieved through comfort. Hebrews 12 verse 11 explains, "For the moment all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." Discipline is painful. The hard path is difficult. Growth is uncomfortable. But it yields fruit. Real men are willing to endure the discomfort for the fruit. The crowd isn't. They'll choose comfort every time. And they'll stay exactly where they are. Fifth, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd is easily manipulated. When you don't think for yourself, someone else will think for you. When you don't decide for yourself, someone else will decide for you. When you follow the crowd, you're not making choices. You're being herded. The crowd is controlled by whoever has the loudest voice. The most influence. The biggest platform. They don't think critically. Don't question narratives. Don't examine what they're being told. They just accept it, believe it, follow it, because everyone else is. 1 John 4 verse 1 warns, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, for many false prophets have gone out into the world." Test everything. Question. Examine. Don't just believe because everyone else believes. Don't just follow because everyone else is following. Real men think for themselves. Question what they're told. Examine what they're being asked to believe. Test whether it aligns with truth. The crowd doesn't do that. They're sheep, being led wherever the shepherd wants them to go. And they don't even realize they're being herded. Sixth, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd demands conformity. The crowd doesn't tolerate differences, doesn't accept divergent thinking, doesn't allow questions. You either conform or you're out. You either agree or you're the enemy. You either follow or you're attacked. The crowd requires uniformity. Same thoughts. Same beliefs. Same behaviors. Same values. And if you don't conform, they turn on you. Mock you. Cancel you. Ostracize you. Because the crowd can't handle anyone who refuses to be like everyone else. Romans 12 verse 2 commands, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind." Do not be conformed. Don't let the crowd shape you. Don't let popular opinion mold you. Don't let cultural pressure form you. Be transformed. By truth. By God. By conviction. Not by conformity. Real men refuse to conform. They think differently. Believe differently. Live differently. And they're okay with the crowd's rejection. Because being true to their convictions matters more than being accepted by people with none. Seventh, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd worships mediocrity. The crowd celebrates average, normalizes settling, accepts good enough. They don't pursue excellence. Don't push for greatness. Don't strive for more. Because that would require effort, and the crowd avoids effort. So they mock those who work harder, criticize those who aim higher, resent those who achieve more. Not because high achievers are wrong, Because they make the crowd feel bad about their own mediocrity. Colossians 3 verse 23 commands, "Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men." Work heartily, with all your heart. Pursue excellence. Strive for greatness. Give your best. Not for the crowd's approval, for the Lord. And real men do that. They refuse to settle for mediocrity just because everyone else does. They pursue excellence even when the crowd mocks them for it. Eighth, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd has no legacy. The crowd is forgotten. History doesn't remember the masses who went along, who followed, who conformed, who blended in. History remembers the few who stood out, who stood alone, who stood against the crowd. Noah is remembered. The crowd that mocked him is forgotten. David is remembered. The army that cowered is forgotten. Daniel is remembered. The officials who bowed are forgotten. Jesus is remembered. The crowds that shouted, "Crucify him," are forgotten. The crowd leaves no legacy, because they did nothing worth remembering. They followed. They conformed. They went along. There's nothing remarkable about that. Nothing worth recording. Nothing worth passing down. Real men build legacies. Not by following the crowd. By leading when everyone else follows. By standing when everyone else sits. By speaking when everyone else is silent. That's what creates a legacy worth leaving. Ninth, real men don't follow the crowd because the crowd serves the wrong master. The crowd serves culture, popularity, trends, public opinion, whatever's acceptable, whatever's in style, whatever won't get them criticized. But real men serve God. Not culture, not popularity, not trends. Good. And often what God requires is opposite of what the crowd demands. What God calls righteous, the crowd calls intolerant. What God calls holy, the crowd calls judgmental. What God calls truth, the crowd calls hate. You can't serve God and follow the crowd. One will always conflict with the other. And when they do, real men choose God. Every time. Even when it costs them the crowd's approval. Matthew 6 verse 24 declares, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other." You can't serve both. You have to choose. The crowd or God. Popular opinion or truth. Cultural acceptance or biblical conviction. Real men choose God, even when it means standing alone. 10th, real men don't follow the crowd because they were created to lead it. God didn't design men to follow. He designed them to lead, to pioneer, to blaze trails, to go first, to show the way, to stand in front, not hide in the masses. When men follow the crowd, they're operating against their design, against their calling, against their purpose. Men are meant to be leaders, decision makers, trailblazers, not followers, not sheep, not part of the herd. 1 Timothy 3 describes leadership qualities. Nowhere does it say, goes with the flow, follows the crowd, blends in. It describes men who lead, who take responsibility, who make decisions, who stand firm. That's masculine design. When you follow the crowd, you're being less than what God created you to be. You're shrinking, hiding, disappearing. And real men refuse to do that. They step up, step out, step forward, even when everyone else is standing still. So here's the question. Are you following the crowd? Are you doing what everyone else is doing because everyone else is doing it? Are you thinking what everyone else is thinking because everyone else is thinking it? Are you believing what everyone else believes because everyone else believes it? Or are you thinking for yourself? Standing on conviction? Living by principle? Following truth regardless of who else is following? Being willing to stand alone when the crowd is going the wrong direction? Because that's what separates real men from the masses. Real men don't follow the crowd. They have the courage to stand alone, the conviction to go against popular opinion, the character to choose right over easy, the strength to be different. The crowd will pressure you to conform. They'll mock you for being different. They'll criticize you for not going along. They'll try to make you feel crazy for standing alone. Don't listen to them. Remember Noah. Remember Abraham. Remember Moses. Remember David. Remember Daniel. Remember Jesus. Every single one of them stood against the crowd. And every single one of them was right. The crowd was wrong then. The crowd is wrong now. The crowd will be wrong tomorrow. Because the crowd always takes the wide road, the easy path, the popular route, and it always leads to destruction. Real men take the narrow road, the hard path, the unpopular route, because they care more about where they're going than who's going with them, more about being right than being popular, more about truth than trends. Stop following the crowd. Start leading yourself. Think for yourself. Decide for yourself. Stand for yourself. Even if you're the only one standing. Especially if you're the only one standing. Because that's what real men do. They don't follow the crowd. They lead it. Or they stand alone. But they never, ever, just go along with the masses heading toward destruction. Be a real man. Stand alone if you have to. But don't follow the crowd.